Hello? Hello, guys.
Hello.
Good
You guys
evening.
there?
What's going on? How you doing there?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Well, right?
Yes, sir.
And looks like we have Jason, we have Kingsley.
I thought we had one more, but I guess they logged off.
It was Kingsley, Jason. Who's speaking now? Is it Kingsley or Noel?
No, it's Kingsley.
Kingsley.
Yeah.
I think yeah. Noel dropped off. Yeah. Let's just give him 1 minute to
What are
join.
what are we talking about today?
We're gonna dive deeper into whatever we were talking about yesterday. It's all connected. Like every class
Oh,
is
okay.
gonna be related to the. It's gonna be. See, you guys understood the class last night,
Yeah.
and the first class kind of summarizes everything. So if
Mm,
you understood last night's class really well,
yeah.
from here on out, everything is just going to be diving deeper.
Oh, okay.
But last night's class gives you a good idea.
Sure, sure.
Like if you fully understood last night's class,
Yeah.
it means this is probably the right career for you.
Okay. So we're still dealing with internet and networks.
Yes. Yep.
Sounds good.
Noel, you're back on?
Yes.
It's it's
back on.
it's Noel. Let me pronounce it right. Noel, you there?
Yes, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm back on.
Yep, I can hear you fine. Yeah. So
Good evening.
Kingsley was asking like what the topic is for tonight, and I told them I said every class is gonna be kind of related to the previous class, and I said
Okay,
like last night's class is kind of like a preview for the whole course, meaning
correct.
like everything we're going to discuss in the future is going to be kind of related. It's similar to last night, except we're just going to be going a little deeper every time. But last night's class kind of summarizes everything. So if you think you understood the class really well, then that means that technology is probably for you. It means that you can probably build a career in technology. So the first class usually gives people a very good idea. So those who are interested in continuing will continue after the first class. And some people just don't understand the first class and then they decide, okay, technology is not for them. So it gives you a very good idea. And since you're all here, looks like you understood really well.
The overlay was
So
perfect for
today,
my example. Thank you.
perfect. So tonight we're going to dive deeper. So yesterday we were talking about a home in Sudan, and we were talking about a server in California. So the home user will send the request through the internet until it's delivered to the YouTube server, right? And this
Yes,
get message is carried across devices we call what? What was the name of the devices?
we were going into routers.
Routers, exactly. So the get message is delivered all the way to the Google server via these routers. Every router will read the get message. It will read the address of the get message and it will pass it on to the next router and then the next and the next and the next until it's delivered to the Google server.
To
The
the
Google
server.
server will say, hey, oh, yeah, the Google server will say, hey, someone sent me a GET message. They want the web page. And where is the web page stored? Where is the web page hosted or stored? Which device?
Stored on the Google server.
Exactly. So when the Google server receives the GET message, it's going to send the web page. So the web page is going to travel from a router to another, to another, to another, because we said these routers have the capacity to read the message and read the address of the message and send it in the right direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the web page is carried across routers, forwarded from router to another until it's delivered to the home user. And this is when you see the Google web page on your laptop. And it all happens in a fraction of a second. Jason, these guys, Noel and Kingsley, understood the class fully last night. And you weren't in class last night. So I'm wondering if you watched the recording or.
Yeah, I did watch the recording last night.
Good, perfect. Okay, so let's dive deeper. So yesterday, and let me draw a picture kind of similar to last night. So we had the home user here in Sudan, and that's his laptop. I'm not going to draw the whole home. I'm just going to draw the laptop. So this is the laptop in Sudan, and this is the Google server in California, and the web page www.google.com www.google.com is hosted on this server. And this is the home user in Sudan. Last night in class, we spoke of many networks, like on the path from the home user to the Google server. We spoke of many networks, and we said every network is made of what kind of devices? What's the name of the device?
Router.
Routers. So yesterday we were talking about between the home user in Sudan and the Google server in California, there's many networks. You can have like Sudatel, you can have British Telecom, you can have California, so you can have many networks, and every network is made up of routers, and that's how the GET message is sent, and that's how the web page is delivered. And you guys are all clear 100% on this, right?
Mm.
Good. So to simplify the diagram, instead of drawing many networks and many routers, let's just keep it simple. Let's call it router 1 and router 2. So we're simplifying the whole internet into how many routers?
2.
2. If we understand, so this is a simplified diagram. Obviously, the internet, you have the home in Sudan, PC1 in Sudan, you have a Google server in California, you have many routers, many intermediate routers, maybe millions. So this is a simplified diagram. Instead of drawing like many routers, we're simplifying the diagram and we're drawing how many routers?
router 1 and router 2.
Two, exactly. Because if you understand how these two routers will forward the message, then you're going to understand how a million routers will forward the message. They work the same way. So this is a simplified diagram. So these devices have IP addresses. Like this home user in Sudan will have an IP address of 10.1.1.1. Since this router is directly connected to it, this router will be 10.1.1.2. It's going to have a kind of similar IP address. Why? Because they're neighbors. They're on the same network. Is PC1 and router 1, are they directly connected?
Yes.
Yes. So since they're any two devices that are directly connected, they're on the same network, meaning they're going to have similar addresses. And we're going to go deep into these IP addresses in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. But that's just kind of like, I'm just introducing the concept of IP addresses. So this PC will have 10.1.1.1, and the router will have 10.1.1.2. Routers usually separate a network from another. What does that mean? You have a home router. On one side of the home router, you have your PC, right? On the other side of the home router, there's the internet, right?
Yeah. So I would say that first part
So-
again. On the one side of the home router, you have.
I'm telling you something about routers. Routers separate networks. A router is a boundary between a network and another network. Just kind of like you have boundaries between a country and another. The router is a boundary between one country and another country. For example, if you have a home router, this home router is connected internally to your laptop, to your PC, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
But then on the other side of the router, there's a cable going to the internet, right?
Mm.
So there's two sides to your router, right?
Yeah.
One side is your home network. Other side is the internet, right?
Mhm.
You get it?
Yep.
Good. So since the router separates network, the other side of the router is a totally different network. So this link here, it's not going to be the 10 network. It's going to be the 10, the 20, 1, 1, 1. Why is it 20? Because it's the other side of the router. Anytime you have a router, to the right of the router, there's a network. To the left of the router, an entirely different network. So here, router 1 has network 10 on one side, but the other side is network 1,
20.
20.
20. Exactly. So router 2, can we say it's on the same network as router 1? Router 2, is it also on the 20 network or is it on a different network?
20
It'll
network.
be on the 20.
Same on the 20, 20, 1, 1, 2. Because it's directly connected to router 1, right?
Mhm.
Now, if we talk about the other side of router 2, is the other side still the 20 network or is it a different network?
Different.
Perfect. So let's call this one 3111. So if this router is 3111, since the server is directly connected to it, the server will be 3011.1.
2.
2.
You see how we've given every device an IP address?
Mhm.
We've given every device an IP address. Devices that are on the same network, they'll have similar IP addresses. Devices that are on different network will have different IP addresses. But not only do devices have IP addresses, they have another address. It's called the MAC address. MAC. Let's call this MAC 1, MAC 2, MAC 3, MAC 4. So every device has an IP address, and every IP address has a MAC address associated with it. MAC 5, MAC 6, MAC 1, MAC 2, MAC 3, MAC 4, MAC 5, and MAC 6. So you probably also noticed on the diagram, the PC has one IP address and one MAC address. The server has one IP address and one MAC address. What is the MAC address of the server?
Mac 2.
The server. MAC 2 is here. You have the server.
Mac 6.
MAC 6.
Oh, the server, I'm sorry.
So the PC has one IP address, one MAC address. Server has one IP address, one MAC address. And that's generally how it is. Like usually PCs have one IP, one MAC. Servers has one IP, one MAC, just like the PC. But if we take a look at the routers, each router has how many IPs?
2.
2, and 2 MACs, because the routers will have an IP and a MAC for every single link.
Mm.
You get it?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So now our network is ready. So let's see how the packet flows. Let's say someone on this PC opens a browser and types google.com. What kind of message is created? What's the name of the message that's created?
Get.
Get. So the get message is created, and to be specific, it's get Google, right?
Mm.
Good. And yesterday we just called it a get to kind of to simplify first class, but there is more to it than the get. This get message, PC1 will add some information to it. It's called the header, TCP header. So it will add a TCP header to the message. And the TCP header will have a source port and a destination port. The source port is usually a random number that the PC picks up or selects. So let's say 100,000. So you can think of the source port as just a random number the PC makes up. But the destination port is 80, always 80. Every time you're sending a get message, because we're going to talk about different kinds of communication. Not every time. When you send a get message, you're requesting a web page, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know that from last night, right? When you send a get message, it means you want a web page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not all communication in the internet is getting a web page. Some people send emails, right? Some people download files. There's all sorts of things people do on the internet. But if you're sending a get message, then almost always the destination port is 80. So PC1 will generate the get message. It will add a TCP header to it. It will give the TCP header a source port and a destination port. The source port is a random number. Destination port is always 80. Destination port is always 80. The PC will then add an IP header. Same thing. The IP header will also have a source and a destination, just like the TCP header. We'll also have a source, but here we call it source IP, destination IP. So who's the source IP? Where is this message sourced from? Where is this message originating? Who is sending this message? Who is the source?
The laptop in Sudan.
Yeah, so what's the IP address of this laptop in Sudan, which is the source?
10.1.1.1.
Right. And what's the final destination for the get message? Where do we want the get message to go so we can obtain the web page?
You want it to go to,
30.1.1.2.
yep.
Say that one more time. I heard 112. I didn't hear the first part. So where is the destination? Where is the final destination? Where do you want this get message to go so you can receive the web page?
You want to go ahead, Jason, or?
Oh, you can go ahead.
Max 6, that 30.1.1.2.
30.1.1.2. Exactly.
We're going to Max 6.
It's going to Max 6, but we're going to get to the map. But right now, we're talking about the IP, right? See how we call this IP header, right? But you're right. We're going to talk about the MAC next. And then a MAC header will be added. And all this is happening inside of which device? Where is all this going on? Which device?
Will it be the
A
router?
get message, a TCP. Who's creating the get message?
Oh, the laptop.
The laptop. And the laptop is adding the TCP header to it, and the laptop is adding the IP header to it, and the laptop is adding the MAC header. So all this is happening inside the router. Clear? So the MAC will also have a source MAC and a destination MAC. So we always have a source and a destination. What is the source MAC? Where is this message sourced from? Where is this message originated from? Who's sending this message?
Mac 1.
Mac 1. The message is originating from the PC, which is Mac 1. The destination MAC is slightly different than the destination IP. When we were talking about the IP, the source IP was the beginning point. The destination IP was the final destination. The MAC is different. When we were talking about MAC, the source MAC is still the PC, but the destination is the next MAC. The next MAC. So what's the next MAC after Mac 1?
Mac 2.
Mac 2. Now your message is complete. And it's ready to be sent on the internet. So when you open a browser, you type google.com, a get message is created, and then a TCP header is added to it. What's the source number on the TCP header? The source port. We're talking about the TCP. According to the diagram, what's the source port?
Well, for this example, we said 100,000, right? But it could be any
Right.
move numbers.
No, it's a random number. Exactly. Perfect. And what's the destination port?
For TCP, always 80 for whatever reason.
For always 80 if it's a get message, right?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Get message means requesting a web page, right?
Mm.
So every time you send a get message, it's 80. Then we're going to add which header, or the PC is going to add which header after the TCP.
IP.
Source IP is the beginning point, which is the PC, which is 10.1.1.1. And who is the destination IP? Always the final destination. This is something like you guys should remember. When it comes to IP, source IP is always the beginning point. Destination IP is the final destination. Where do you want this get message to go? So what is the destination IP?
Wherever wherever the server is that you're going, in this case, Google,
what's the IP?
30.1.12.
Perfect. You understood it well because you said whatever server you're going to, because we may be going to Facebook server, any other server. Perfect.
Right.
So then we add a MAC. In the MAC, the source MAC is also MAC 1 because this is the beginning point, but the destination MAC isn't the final destination, right?
Mhm.
Destination MAC would be which MAC?
Max 6.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I was looking at something.
So we're talking about the MAC here, right?
The Mac
Oh,
is
the Mac
like,
ID.
microphone is up. My Mac
Source MAC.
numbers proceed from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 until it reaches that final destination.
Yeah, right, right. But and we'll get to that. But we're talking about this message specifically. What is the destination MAC?
2.
Right. I was just
2.
adding on to what you had said. Yeah, you're going to
Right,
2.
right.
Proceeding what you were
What I
saying
want,
yesterday, leading off of when you had a question about the 9 and the 10, and I had added on about the if you have one server that's down, how can a message be transferred directly to a specific router? This is answering that question entirely. So from 1,
yep,
it just goes to 2, and then 2 goes to 3. Correct.
perfect. Yep, perfect. Yeah. So the source MAC 1, destination MAC 2. So the reason I'm emphasizing this is very important to remember. When it comes to the IP, the source IP is always the beginning, destination IP is always the end. But when it comes to MAC, it's slightly different. The source MAC is the beginning, but the destination MAC is what?
It's not the end, but it's the next port of
It's
contact.
the next.
Yeah.
If you just remember that alone, this may be a question or two on the CCNA exam. This is a very important concept. So when it comes to IP, source is the beginning, destination is the end, but MAC is different. When it comes to MAC, source MAC is the beginning, destination MAC is the next stop. So now the message is complete. So it's going to leave the router. It's going to travel on the cable until the first device, which is which router?
Router
It
1.
leaves the router 1. So router 1 will read the message from the far left. So it's not going to read the message from the get. It's going to read the message from the far left, from the MAC side. So router 1 will read the message from the far left. And it's going to focus on the destination. The destination is what's important, because this is where the message is going. So what's the destination MAC?
Will it be Mac 4?
The router, you guys have the message in front of you, right? We have a diagram of the message, get TCP IP MAC, right? So imagine you're the router. All I'm asking you to do is just to read this message. Let's read the MAC only, and specifically the destination MAC.
That would be
Like when you receive a letter in the mail, it's going to have a destination address going to this address, right? Same concept.
Like you said,
the router,
we simplified the map, and we're in the grid. We created the message from the laptop. The router 1 received the message. We're right now looking to see destination MAC 2. So we're trying to get the message from router 1 to router 2.
So the message is already complete, right? And router 1 receives it, right? So
Right,
router
from left
1
to
is
right.
going to right. Router 1 is going to read the message from left to right, meaning it's going to read the MAC. It's going to look at the information contained in the MAC.
It's like a tracking number. It says from source, like you said, from source, it says MAC 1, destination MAC 2. It gives me everything I need
Good.
from the IP to
Good.
the protocol, TLP. to the get number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
All that matters is the MAC. Because remember, we're saying the router reads from the left, right? The MAC, right? And it's going to see that the destination MAC is MAC what? So the router is going to read the MAC, and what is the destination MAC on the message? I'm not asking you to think about it. I'm just asking you to look at the screen and tell me what's the destination MAC.
Mac 2.
MAC 2, you see here? Destination MAC, MAC 2, right? And what's the MAC of the router? I understand the router 1 has 2 MACs, but I'm talking about the MAC on the side on which it receives the message. What is the MAC of the router?
Will that be Mac 2 as well?
Exactly. How many MACs does router 1 have according to the diagram? How many MACs does router 1 have?
2.
2 Macs.
2 MACs, MAC 2 and MAC 3, right? And the message says destination is MAC 2. That means this message is destined to the router, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we read the message, destination MAC, MAC 2, and the router is also MAC 2, so the router is going to say, okay, this message is for me. Just kind of when you receive a letter in the mail, and you see your home address in that letter, it means it's for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. So for that reason, since the destination is MAC 2, the router is going to say, okay, this message is for me. I can open it up. I can open it up so I can read what's inside that letter. Once the router opens up the message, it's going to read what's inside the MAC, which is the IP, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to read the IP. What is the destination IP on the message? Like all I'm asking you to do is imagine you're this router, right? And you just like reading this message. It's kind of like how someone can read a book. Read the IP and read specifically the destination. What is the destination?
The Google search.
30.1.1.2.
30.1.1.2. Remember yesterday we said routers are intelligent devices. They can read the address on the message and know where to send it, right?
Yeah.
So this router will say, okay, 3112, I'm going to send it this way. But the Google server is right here, 3112. So the message has to be sent in this direction. But before sending it on the other side, is the message complete or is it missing the MAC? Before sending it to router 2, is the message complete or is it missing the MAC?
For the guys, correct. He's going to recreate another MAC for the next address.
Because it's missing the MAC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So, Kingsley, Jason, you guys clear?
Yeah. The connection's so
It's
weird. Unfortunately, I can't. It's going in and out. But I follow you.
Good. So before sending it to router 2, router 1 is going to send is going to create a new MAC. We add a new MAC to the message with the source and destination MAC. This time, the source and destination MAC are entirely different. What is the source MAC? To know the source MAC and the destination MAC, think this message is going from this device to that device. This will tell you the source and destination.
Source Mac 3. Yes, sir.
20.111.
No, we're talking MAC, right?
Oh,
2111 is
sorry,
IP.
not IP. Yeah, Mac
The
3.
destination Mac will be Mac 4.
Mm-hmm.
MAC 4, source MAC 3, destination. See, on the first part of the path, the source MAC was MAC 1, destination MAC was MAC 2. But on the second part of the path, it totally changed. Source MAC is MAC 3, destination MAC is MAC 4, right?
Right.
So then the message is sent to router 2. Same thing. Imagine you're router 2 and you're reading this message. And the router will read the message from the far left, so it's going to read the MAC. What is the destination MAC on the message?
Mac 4.
MAC 4 is MAC 4. And what is the MAC of router 2?
Mac 4.
Also MAC 4. So router 2 is going to say, okay, this piece of mail is for me. It has my address. I can open this letter and see what's in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So router 2 will do the same thing. It will open the MAC. Once router 2 opens the MAC, it can read which header? The IP header, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once router 2 strips off the MAC, it can read the IP. What's the destination IP?
3112.
Destination IP is 3112, which is the server. And we said routers have the ability to read the destination IP and know on which direction this message should go.
Mm-hmm.
So once router 2 reads the destination IP 3112, router 2 knows that 3112 is in this direction. Let me ask you if you notice something. Are these routers changing the IP, or is the destination IP remaining the same throughout the journey?
For the IP, it's staying the same.
Staying the same. Because these routers, router 1 and router 2, they're opening the MAC, reading the IP, knowing where to send the message, and adding a new MAC and then sending it. So they change the MAC,
Mm-hmm.
but the IP remains the same. All clear?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Kingsley, Jason, you guys clear?
Yeah, I said yeah. I'm the one responding.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good. Good. So router 2 will read the IP, destination IP 3112. Router 2 will know that this message has to go to the server. But before sending it, it's going to add MAC information to it. Because anytime you're sending a message, it has to be a complete message, get, TCP, IP, and MAC. So every time the router removes a MAC to be able to read the IP, before sending the message in the other direction, it adds another MAC. So now the message is going from router 2 to the Google server. So what is the source MAC this time?
Mac 4.
It's not 4.
Say again.
It's not 4. Think where's the message? Think the message is going from which device to which device, and this will tell you the MAC addresses.
Well, you're going to the other side of router 2, Mac 5 then, right?
So the message is going from Mac 5 to which Mac?
6.
Exactly. So the source MAC is Mac 5, destination MAC is Mac 6. So the MAC is always changing. Mac to Mac 2, Mac 3 to Mac 4, Mac 5 to Mac 6. The MAC is always changing. So now the message is delivered to which device?
Your destination server.
The server. Same thing. The server is going to read the message from the far left, the MAC, and it's going to read specifically the destination MAC. What is the destination MAC? So we're talking about the message here. What is the
Mac.
destination MAC?
MAC 6.
MAC 6. And what is the MAC of the server?
5.
No, server is not 5. 5 is router 2.
Wait, what do you ask? Oh, you said the MAC of this. I mean, it's MAC 6, is it not?
Exactly. So the server will read the destination MAC. It's going to say MAC 6. And the server is also MAC 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the server is going to say, okay, this piece of mail is for me. It has my destination MAC. Let me open the letter and read it. So the server will open the MAC. And then it's going to read the IP. Same thing. What is the destination IP of the message?
3112.
3112. And what is the IP of the server?
10111.
No.
I thought the source.
30.1.1.2.
Let's start all over. The server removed the MAC. And it's going to read
30.1.1.2. Our servers,
Exactly.
the www.google.com. Our message
Right.
reached the destination.
Right. So the server is going to read the destination IP. It's 3112. And the server's IP address is also 3112. You guys get it?
Okay.
So the server is going to say, oh, this message is for me. I can open the IP to read what's inside. So it's even going to open the IP. Did router 1 and router 2 open the IP, or did they open the MAC only? Router 1 and router 2, did they open the IP, or they opened the MAC only?
They opened the IP.
They removed the MAC, but they didn't open the IP.
No, they did not
They did-
dissolve the IP. They just dissolved or read the MAC.
Exactly. They just like removed the MAC, right? They removed the MAC because when they read the IP is 3112. So it wasn't for them, it was for the Google server. So you send it in the direction of the server. When the server receives the message, it reads the destination IP. One more time, what's the IP?
Destination
What's
IP
the destination on the message? Yeah,
3112.
3112. And what's the destination IP of the Google server?
3112.
Okay, so the server is going to say, okay, this message is for me. So let me open this letter to read what's inside. So this is the first time.
Real quick on that
Yeah.
IP, when you had first asked it, you asked what the source was. You didn't say the destination of the
No.
server. So I was confused.
To me, that all these devices care about the destination only. Because it doesn't matter where it's coming from. What you care about is the destination. Where do you want to send it? The router wants to know the destination IP. Because this tells the router, send it in this direction, send it in that direction.
So either
Yeah,
way,
he
once
explained it right. He explained it right. He explained it right. The server is just looking to read the 30.1.1.2, but what the devices as the routers are able to accomplish is just by reading from left to right what's necessary to get it to the next port. So we're still talking from Mac 1 to Mac 2 to Mac 3 to Mac 4 to Mac 5, all the way to Mac 6, with Mac 6's message being that 30.1.1.2 remaining without being dissolved or distorted or destroyed. That message is still contained until it gets to its final source.
are you talking about?
Right.
I'm,
What I like.
hold on, go ahead, finish, because I just got confused all over again. I was trying to make a different point, I think.
We're done. We're good.
Go ahead.
Who
So,
are you?
you know, were you speaking, Kingsley?
I mean, I think I was asking a different question, so I don't know if I was talking about something directed at you or me, bro. I'm not sure what you were saying.
Tell me your question. I'll answer.
What I was saying was, so with the IP, obviously, once you reach your destination, whoever that is for is who it's gonna it's gonna be the server and the address, right? Your IP destination, destination IP address, and also your server address will be the same once you reach that.
Exactly.
What I was saying was your source address when you're in an IP is always gonna be the same, right? Because we said that in an IP, those addresses don't change. It's only in a Mac that'll change, correct?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's
Exactly.
okay, cool.
Exactly. You understood it 100%. Like once the final destination, the server, reads the IP header, and it's going to read that this message is going to 30.112, and the server is also 30.112, the server is going to say this message is for me, so it's going to delete the IP. But earlier, router 1 and router 2, did they open the IP? Did they delete the IP, or did they delete the MAC only?
Just the
Yeah,
Mac.
that's the question you were asking before. That's what we were on, right?
Right.
We didn't dissolve anything
Right.
else besides what was necessary to get to the next port.
Exactly. You guys both understood it really well, except you're just calling it different things. You're calling it dissolves, and Kingsley is calling it reach the destination, the same IP address. You guys got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
So the
I mean, not relative,
will,
not related, but yeah, I mean, from what you're asking is or what you're saying in a literate stance is how is the MAC address being read? And specifically, you keep erasing the small box and having it to mean that the MAC is being read, and we're not opening up any other boxes, the TLP or the GET. We're just opening up the message that's necessary to move on to the next port.
right.
That's what I'm getting stifled on.
Mm-hmm. But you get it now. I'm sure Jason is getting it too. He's just like,
Yeah, I'm still into, yeah, I'm looking way into the next chapters. I'm looking into other things right now.
Good. So the server will open the IP, and then it's going to read the TCP. Who's reading the message now? The Google server. It's going to read the TCP, and it's going to focus on the destination. What's most important is the destination. What is the TCP destination port?
80.
80. 80 means someone is requesting a web page. 80 always means someone is requesting a web page. So now the Google server knows that someone is requesting a web page, but the server doesn't know which web page. Is it google.com? Is it facebook.com? Even Google may have two web pages. They may have google.com. They may have, let's say, youtube.com. Maybe they have another web page. So 80, once the server reads the TCP and the port is 80, the server will say, okay, someone's requesting a web page. But the server doesn't know which web page. So the server is going to remove the TCP.
Mm-hmm.
Once the server removes the TCP, now it can read the actual GET message, right? Original GET message, right? And this GET message is going to say Google. Get Google. So now the server knows that someone is requesting a Google web page.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the web page stored?
On the Google server.
The Google server. So the Google server is going to send the web page. So the Google server is going to send the web page, and same process. Before sending it, it's going to add TCP to it. The source and the destination are going to be the opposite of the port numbers the PC sent earlier. So what is the source going to be? If we said the ports are going to be reversed, they're going to be the opposite.
Still some kind of randomized number we don't know, right?
So the source, the randomized number was this. Earlier, it was the source. So now it's going to be the destination. Right?
Okay.
And what was the destination earlier? Because that's going to be the source now.
Well, that's what I was saying, right? So do we know what that is from that destination? Is that going to
80.
be?
Remember, like when the PC created the get message, it added TCP to it,
Mhm.
and the port number at the TCP header were 100,080, right?
Okay, got you.
Now we're reversing them. Like earlier, the source was 100,000, the destination was 80. Now it's the opposite. Now the source is 80, destination is 100,000.
Got you. I think I maybe asked my question wrong. I guess what I'm saying, that 100,000, that is something that's going to be given to us, right? We should know where to find that.
That's 100,000 is a random number the PC generates.
Okay, but in like an exam question or something, it'll say the PC's generated number to us, right? And we'll know, okay, this is it for any message being
You
sent.
know,
Hope I'm not
you know, like the exam is a lot easier than what we're discussing here. The exam doesn't go into that detail. The exam
Okay.
asks you pretty easy questions. But like
Okay.
I said, my goal is not to help you pass the exam only. That's step one. But my goal is to make you very knowledgeable. That way, when you go to an interview, you get able to answer every question and get interviews left and right. That's the goal. But for that reason, we're going very deep. If I wanted to teach you what's expected for the exam, we could have completed this in like 5 minutes. I could have just told you, this is a PC, this is a server, this is a router, this is an IP, this is a Mac. We didn't really have to go through all this, but I want you to understand like all the details.
Gotcha.
I want you to have a very solid foundation because many people take the exam, but having the exam is one thing. Going to an interview, right, and just sitting back and being able to answer any question they throw at you, that's another, right?
Mhm. Okay, I appreciate it. I guess I'll try not to overthink it.
Good. And we're almost gonna finish soon, like in another like 20 minutes or so. So the web page, the server is gonna add TCP, and then it's gonna add. Can you guys tell me what's after TCP?
IP.
IP, exactly. So what's the source IP? Who's sending this web page?
It's gonna be 3112.
3112. And we said that the IP header, the destination is always the final destination, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where's the web page going?
10111.
10111. And then what does the server add after the IP?
Your Mac.
MAC. Now this is a challenging question. What is the source MAC? What is the destination MAC?
Source being Mac 6.
MAC 6, perfect.
And it should be
Destination
Right down to
is
5.
different. Exactly, perfect. 5, because you were saying source IP is the beginning, destination IP is the final destination, but the MAC is different. The source MAC is the beginning, but the destination MAC is always the next MAC. In this situation, MAC 5, right?
Yeah.
So now the web page is complete with the TCP, with the IP, with the MAC. All this is happening inside which device?
Right, just you're explaining exactly how the routers communicate and what their job role is supposed to be.
Right.
If you understood
at this
that, yeah, from
So this
6
is all
going to
right.
5.
Yeah,
Right.
this is all happening in the Google server right now, though.
This is all happening in the Google server. The Google server is the one like coming up with
The
this.
server
web
has
page
the
and
same responsibilities as the router because it's able to read and create the message. I'm asking.
they're all able to read the message. Yeah.
Okay. So right. So like I said, like coming back and up, the 6 is now just going to 5, and my IP address is going to the laptop at home, which is in Sudan. It has my TLP, which should have the random created number, but also the source, which indicates in the binary that it's requesting a web page.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And we're gonna get into the details like of binary. There's a whole chapter on that, right? So at this point, like this message, Noel, is being created where? Noel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I stepped away for
So
2
I just want to
seconds.
make sure. I want to make sure you understand this part. Like this message, the web page, TCP, IP, and MAC. Where is this message being created? At the Google server, right?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
I didn't hear you, but good. So now the message is created at the Google server. We add TCP, IP, MAC to it, and then same thing, same process, just the opposite direction. This message is sent from the Google server
Yeah, I've
to
been
router
following
2.
for the entire video. Right. I've been patiently waiting. Yeah, I'm at the server, going back to Mac 1. The creation of the Mac 6 is going to Mac 5. I can't go to Mac 4, Mac 3, or anything else before my Mac address being read by the router 2, which should have it indicated as destination Mac 5. So that server has to create that message for it to be read.
Right. So the message now is sent from the Google server to router 2. The message is sent from the Google server to router 2. And you guys know the process by now. Router 2 is going to read the message from the far left or the far right.
Or left.
The left. So router 2 is going to read the destination from the far left, and it's going to read the destination MAC. So what's the destination MAC on the message?
Mac 5.
Destination MAC is MAC 5. And what is the MAC of router 2?
Right there, Mac 5.
Same, right? So router 2 is going to say, this message is for me. This piece of mail is for me. It has my address. So let me open the MAC so I can read what's inside this letter.
Right. And when I said open, I just meant it as the components will go ahead and read it and dissolve it, or it's not valid anymore because it's recreating another message, which will now be Mac 4.
Right. Right. We're all kind of saying it in different language, but we all understand it really well. Or we all get it. We're just calling it different things. So
Or read it.
router
Yeah.
2 is going to right. So router 2 is going to open the MAC, and now it can read which header? The IP, right? So what's the destination IP on the message? Like imagine you're router 2 and you're reading this message. What's the destination IP? Because router 2 already removed the MAC. Now it can read the IP. So when router 2 reads the IP, what is the destination IP? You guys there?
10.1.1.1.
Exactly. Destination IP is 10.1.1.1, which is the PC. So router 2 is going to say, this message has a destination IP of 10.1.1.1. I'm going to send it in this direction because we said routers can read the address and know exactly where to send the message. But is the message complete, or does router 2 have to add something to it before sending it to router 1?
It's not complete.
Not complete. What is router 1 going to add to it?
MAC address.
MAC, exactly. Now, what is the source and MAC going to be? Source and destination MAC. Where are they going to be this time? So now the message is going from where to where?
So
it helps you understand.
we were at 5, now we're going to 4, right? So source would be 5, destination 4.
It's going from which device to which device?
From router 2 to router 1.
Okay, so what would be the max? Because 5 is on the other side, right? But from router 2 to router 1, what are the max?
Oh, I see what you're saying. 4 and 3. Okay.
Yeah, source is Mac 4, destination is Mac 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gate and Noel, you guys get it?
Yes, sir.
Good. So the message is delivered to router 1. Same thing. Router 1 is going to read the message from the far left. And what is the message going to say? What's the destination MAC?
3.
3. And what is the MAC of router 1?
3.
Also 3. So router 1 is going to say, this piece of mail has my address. Destined for me, it has my address. Let me open this letter and read what's inside. So when router 3 opens the MAC, it reads the IP. What is the IP on the message?
That we're going back to our destination 10.1.1.1.
10.1.1.1. So router 3 is going to read the destination IP 10.1.1.1. It's going to say, okay, the message has to go this way. Does it send it immediately or does it add something to it before sending it?
We have our MAC message to send.
Yeah, we add a MAC to it, right? And this time, what is the source MAC? What is the destination MAC?
So now sourcing from router 1, MAC 2.
Router 1 the PC, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the source MAC would be what?
MAC 2
MAC 2,
going to MAC 1.
Going to destination MAC 1. Perfect. So now the message is well on its way to the PC. So now the PC receives the message. It's going to read the destination MAC always from the far left. What is the destination MAC?
MAC 1.
MAC 1. And what is the MAC of the PC?
MAC 1.
MAC 1. So the PC is going to say this piece of mail has my address. Let me open it so I can read what's inside. So the PC will open the MAC. Now the PC can read the IP. What's the destination IP message?
The destination is it's that device. It's 10.1.1.1.
10.1.1.1, and the PC is also 10.1.1.1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the PC says, okay, this message has my IP address, so it's destined for me. I can open the IP. Did router 1 and router 2 open the IP also, or did they open the MAC only? Router 1 and router 2, did they also open the IP, or did they only open the MAC? You guys there?
Yeah, so you said router 2 and 1, did they open the IP? Yes, they had
So,
to know where they'd send it to.
But see the PC here. Did the PC remove the MAC and the IP? I'm talking about the PC. Did the PC remove both? Like the PC open the MAC and the IP?
The PC, yes.
Right. Did the routers do the same thing? Did they also open the MAC and open the IP?
Hold on, let me think on it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say yes. Yeah.
When the routers received the message and they opened the MAC and they read the IP, was the IP for them or was it for another device?
It was for another device.
Yeah, it was for
So
our
they did
device.
for another device because the IP address doesn't change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't open the IP. They just add a new MAC and they sent it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the PC, when it receives the message, it removes the MAC, and when it reads the IP is 10111 and the PC is 10111. So even the IP address matches the IP address of the PC. So the PC also removes the IP.
Mm.
Is that clear on this?
Yeah, so that Mac is only looking at before and after. It's not looking further down. It's looking at what's right in front of it, if that makes sense.
Say that one more time.
I was saying that MAC address is just looking at what previously gave it to it, and then it's handing it off to the next thing, right? It's not looking at the end goal because that's not for it until it went from router 1 to our device 1. I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
So the MAC changes. Like when the message is going from here to here, source MAC, destination MAC are 5 and 6.
Right.
Message going from here to here, 4 and 3. Here to here, 2 and 1, right?
Right.
But what's inside the MAC, which is the IP, is that changing or is it always 10111?
No, that's what I'm saying. So IP isn't changing. And the Mac
IP
message
isn't.
is not for that message in the Mac isn't for or the IP isn't for the Mac. I hope I'm not confusing.
Can you say that one more time?
So the IP is not for the Mac. So the Mac isn't opening it. I was just reaffirming what you were saying, but in a way that I would understand it. That's all.
Good. So what I'd like you guys to understand is these routers, when they router 2 and router, so the message at the web page originated where? Where's the web page coming from? What's the source of the web page?
Google server.
Google server. When router 2 and router 1 receive the message, they read the MAC, and the message will have their MAC address. Because when the message is going from the Google server to router 2, it will have MAC 5. And when it's going from router 2 to router 1, it will have destination MAC of MAC 3, right? So these routers will read the MAC. They will see that the destination MAC is their own MAC address, so they're going to open the MAC, right? When they open the MAC, they read what's inside the MAC, which is what?
I mean, their source and their destination, right?
Once the routers open the MAC, they read the header that's inside. What header is directly inside the MAC?
Whatever one was before them.
Remember, we were saying
after
the message, TCP, IP, and MAC, right?
that.
So when the routers remove the MAC, what's left?
Their IP.
IP, exactly. So when router 2, router 1 remove the MAC, now they read the IP. When they read the IP, is the destination address their IP, or is the destination address always 10.1.1.1?
It's not theirs. It's always 10.1.1.
So they're going to say this is not ours.
Right.
So are they going to open the IP or not?
No.
They're not going to open the IP, right? They just read it, 10.1.1.1. It's not for us. They're not going to open the IP.
Right.
They're just going to send it in the right direction and add a new MAC to it, right? With new MAC values, right?
Right.
Perfect. The PC is slightly different because when the PC receives the message, it will have MAC 1. And the PC is MAC 1, so it's going to remove the MAC. Once the PC removes the MAC, what's left to be read?
Your IP and TCP.
IP. So when the PC reads the IP, it's 10.1.1.1, and the PC is also 10.1.1. This is the first time a device reads the IP, and the destination IP 10.1.1.1 matches the IP of the device, 10.1.1.1 of the PC, right? So can PC1 remove the IP also? This is the point I was making. So the PC will not only remove the MAC, it will remove the MAC and remove the IP. If we take a look at the message here, this message has no MAC, has no IP, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's TCP and web page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the PC removed the MAC and removed the IP. Did the routers, router 2, router 1, when they were reading the message, when they were receiving the message and reading it, were they removing the MAC only, or were they removing the MAC and the IP?
Mac only.
MAC only. But the final destination, the PC, will remove both the MAC and the IP, because the MAC is their address, the IP is also their address, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the PC can read what? Once it's removed the MAC and the IP, what can it read?
TCP.
TCP. It's going to see source 80. It's going to know this is a web page.
Mm-hmm.
So the PC will now open TCP. So now it already knows it's a web page because it says 80. So now the PC is going to open the web page. What's left is the web page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the PC is going to read the web page and it's going to present it on your laptop. This is when you see the Google web page, the white page with the search box with the Google logo, red, blue, yellow, green, all the Google colors, right? This is when you see the laptop. This is when you see the web page in your laptop.
Mm-hmm.
You guys get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So sometimes the server may not have a web page. So you may create a GET message here at the PC, add TCP to it, add IP to it, add MAC to it, right? The message is sent to the Are the routers going to remove the MAC only, or are they going to remove the IP?
Mac only.
MAC only. Once the message is delivered to the server is going to remove the MAC. Is it also going to remove the IP?
Yeah, because that's the destination.
Yes. Right. And it's going to remove the TCP, and it's going to see that someone is requesting get Google. Maybe the page is not available. Maybe that server doesn't have the Google web page. What does it do? It's going to send you a message called 404. And it's going to add TCP, IP, and MAC to it. And it's going to send it. Same process. The routers will open the MAC only. But when the message is delivered to the PC is going to open the MAC, the IP, the TCP, and the 404. This is when the PC will display a web page saying 404 page not found. We're all familiar with the 404 page not found, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Good. Good. I think that's it for today. You guys, it's a lot of information. I think you understood it really well. And if you want, you can probably review the recording, because I know it takes 1 second. I'm getting a message here from one of you guys.
Just put down on the that was me. I just put down on the WhatsApp for anybody that might have missed
Good,
that.
good summary. Because all these topics are kind of related. Like tomorrow we're going to be talking about the same things, except we're going to be going deeper, and then the day after also deeper. So all these topics are kind of related. So if you fully understand the class, that kind of sets the stage for the next class.
Yeah.
So
that was a good summary. It was all you.
So you understood really well, but it's a lot of information, can be easily forgotten, and that's why I'm kind of saying it would be nice if you can review the recording. But if you guys also have I have another class starting in 6 minutes. If you guys can stick
I got
around.
some. No, I
If
gotta
you guys
get
can
going. I
stick
got
around.
some other stuff I do.
Okay.
I'm studying a couple languages myself. I'm in Hebrew and Arabic and
Because
Amharic and all
I
this.
wanted to discuss something with you guys, and I wanted to keep it off record. But if you're gonna drop off, well, I can record it, and then you can just listen to the recording later.
Yeah, I followed you. Francis or Frank on the WhatsApp had also said the same thing. We had said something yesterday about that, but I think the program is great because the videos that you have recorded that you post, you're always able to catch up. And even if you do like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, you can still get the whole summary, the whole video, and then come back when we're ready. So as long as these videos are being made, there's no loss in progress.
Perfect. Perfect. So sounds good. Sounds good. You can watch the recording, and we'll see you soon.
All right, have a good one, guys.
You too. Bye bye. Kingsley and Jason.
Yeah, you
you
said,
guys there?
yeah, I'm here. You said stick around.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.